Hi. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the AC show, the coolest show on YouTube. I'm Chris, aka Mr. Carroll Science. That is my daughter, who's not very happy right now. She's got a little teeny tiny fever, little teeny tiny, so she's not feeling super great. And this lovely, beautiful, sexy young gentleman to my left, but you're right, is
Aaron, aka the handy outdoor nerd.
There it is. I just noticed that we just lost a viewer, and so I'm wondering, like, I think somebody saw my pumpkin outfit and they were like, "This is not the right stream. I'm in the wrong place." My wife made this outfit. She hand sewed it. Who took your pants, Eddie? I don't know. There's been reports of a pants thief, but you know, I don't know what to tell you, man. Don't know what to tell you. Oh man, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're joining us live, we greatly appreciate you being here. If you are watching this video after the fact, thank you so much for the view. I really appreciate it, and it really helps us to spread the word of the show. It helps us when you guys watch. It gives us a reason to continue doing the show. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We've got
Other than the fact of the matter, we're going to do it no matter what.
We're going to do it even if there's no viewers. And let me tell you, we've done it. We've done it.
Yeah.
So I really, really appreciate you guys being here. We've got a really fun show today. We've got a couple of big topics that I wanted to talk about that I did not go over this with Aaron beforehand. So it's going to be really fun. My wife is so good. Yeah. She handmade these. She made one for everyone in my family. So we're a whole family of pumpkins this year for Halloween. Maybe Christmas too. Who knows? You know, if we're feeling a little frisky. The reason why I'm wearing this today is because
we know what happens when you get frisky, Chris.
I tell you.
There's a reason you
the
have
reason I'm wearing this today is I was gonna wear this to school, and they told my middle school no Halloween costumes, and I said this is lame, and so I wore my Halloween costume anyways, and then I got yelled at for wearing a Halloween costume when I wasn't supposed to.
You got reprimanded.
A little bit. So I decided I'm gonna wear this costume for the AC show. So hope you guys like it. You know, I sent Aaron a picture of it like 25 minutes ago, and I was thinking, man, you know, maybe he's gonna get the hint. He's gonna put on some sort of a quick costume too, but he did not get the hint. Although I will say those glasses do look kind of new. He does not make pants, Eddie, but I do happen to have a green pair of sweatpants because last year I was the Hulk. So I just wore my green sweatpants. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here comes the great reveal. There it is.
Hello there, humans of Earth.
Time to flame the lame no costume game, yeah. Funny. Optimus, how we doing?
I will destroy you all.
Great.
The headset doesn't stay on, so it's kind of hard to do this.
The headphones won't stay on. Can you even hear me?
My head's too big. That's what she said.
My 7-year-old made me promise that I was going to take him trick-or-treating tomorrow. Usually, the handy Optimus nerd. Usually the way that it goes is I stay home, I hand out the candy. My wife takes the kids around too. I mean, because they don't need, you know, a whole pillowcase full of candy. They're never going to eat that much candy anyways. So
And you
my
can't
wife
eat it because you're
takes them
diabetic.
around what's that?
And you can't eat it because you're diabetic.
Yeah, and I can't eat it because I'm diabetic. So usually my wife takes them around to just the family members. And then you add the mask, it really is too big. That's what Eddie says. So I usually stay home and my wife takes the kids around. But this year, my son made me promise I was going to take him trick-or-treating. So we decided if we're all going to go trick-or-treating, we're going to have a family-themed costume. So I got
There you go.
jack-o'-lantern, and I'm rocking it, baby. Rocking it. You are murder of love. I do not get that. I probably should, but I do not. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us. We got a really fun show. We got two main topics that I want to talk about that I have not gone over this with Aaron, but hopefully he hopefully he's quick on his feet. So what I want to talk about today is two things. Number one is, it's coming up on Christmas time, and around Christmas time is when I like to do a lot of crafting and building and stuff and try and raise some money. Every year I have this idea. I want to do one of those super awesome Christmas light shows where it goes along with the music and stuff.
Yeah.
So every year I'm wanting to do that, but I can't afford it because they're pretty expensive. It's going to probably cost me $400, $500 to get one of these things, and I just don't have the money for it. So every year I raise some money to try and buy one of these things. And so I want to talk about how makers can earn money around Christmas time. So that's one thing that I want to talk about. Another thing that I want to talk about is this hat doesn't work. Damn. Another thing I want to talk about is how you can possibly Halloween safely, because my parents, for example, my dad, he's immunocompromised. He's had a kidney and pancreas transplant. He takes medication to
Now, did Chris freeze or is that my end?
I'm here. Can you guys
There
hear
you
me?
are.
Did I make it back?
Yep.
My internet is like having some issues. I'm sorry. How far did I get in my story before it cut out?
I don't know. It wasn't very far.
Well, okay.
You'd
Well,
gotten to your parents, something about your parents, I think.
okay. So my dad, he takes medicine to kill his immune system because he's had kidney and pancreas transplant. And so I wanted to talk to you guys today about how you can possibly Halloween safely, right? So you can still have Halloween and do it in a safe manner, because it's fun for the kids. We've been kind of locked up for the last 7-8 months, and so it's nice to at least get out and go for a walk. You know what I mean? And so I want to talk about some ways that you can possibly Halloween safely. So those are my two topics. Which would you like to start with first, or do you have like a cool print or something you want to show off?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, so let me.
I don't have any cool prints at the moment to show off.
I do have a cool print that I want to show, and it's this rocket right here. Can you guys see that? It disappeared. Yeah, yeah, you can see that. So this is the G-Create rocket, which I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen this rocket before. It was a pretty popular thing. I started printing this before. My nephew's birthday is coming up. So my nephew's birthday is coming up. He's turning 3 years old, and he's super into rockets. And so I decided I was going to print him a rocket, and I saw this G-Create rocket. And I thought it was really cool. The problem was the actual rocket doesn't look like this. It's got these really flimsy little teeny tiny legs. And this is actually a vase mode version that was created so that people could print it in vase mode and print a whole bunch of them. So what I did is I went through and modified the file so that the vase mode version could have the flame sticking out and attached to this cloud. And I modified it using Tinkercad, and it worked great. And so I just thought that was kind of a cool thing. I'm going to give it to him for his 3rd birthday next week. So that's kind of my cool print for this week. Pretty cool.
Nice.
So do you have a preference for which topic you'd like to cover first, Aaron?
I do not. I will also be working on getting some shirts put out, actually.
Some shirts?
Sadly, no. Yes, sadly, no. It's not thick thon shirts. Not yet.
Oh, come on, Aaron.
I gotta go in and work on a design and get all that actually processed through. Now, these are just shirts for somebody that I gotta put a logo on. So I actually have my heat press heated up.
Sweet. Okay, well, I guess I want to start by talking about how you could potentially earn money during the holiday season through making. So that's a really cool topic. How you can make money during the holiday season. So 3D Printing Professor actually made a really cool video about this, about how you can possibly make money as a maker. And a lot of the things that he mentioned are really, really cool. So the first thing that I want to talk about as far as like what you can do to make money if you are a maker is, number one, you have to find a need that has not been filled. So a niche, excuse me. So you don't want to go around and making the exact same thing that everybody else has already made. If you do that, then you're not going to end up selling any of the things that you make. And so what you need to do is you need to find something that not very many people or nobody in your area are making. So that's the number one thing. And so the number one thing that I can think of for finding a need or whatever is keychains. Keychains are a really cool thing. People will always buy a keychain, especially if it's the logo of their local sports team, local school mascot, whatever like that. Really, really interesting thing. So actually, Joe, 3D Printing Professor, talked to me. I talked to him the other day when I was getting ready for that charity event that I did when I had to miss the stream a few weeks ago. When I was talking about that charity event, he helped me to design some keychains that had the local school mascots on them. And I printed out those keychains and they sold like hotcakes. They were a really big seller and they helped to make a lot of money for the charity. So that was really cool. So another thing that I have that I've done. So last year I went through and made a whole bunch of snowflakes, just some outside decorations. I hit people up on Facebook and I think I raised something like $350 just by making these little snowflakes. And this year I am going to, let me share my screen again real quick. This year I have a, here it is. This year, instead of making snowflakes like I did last year, I'm actually going to be making some little nativity scenes. They look like this. They're made out of cedar. They use these little staples to hold everything together. They're super fun and really, really easy to make. I did not have to take a single measurement at all when I made this. I just kind of put it together and it worked perfect first try. So really, really cool. But that's what I would say. If you are looking at ways to try and make money during the holiday season, as a maker, find something that has not been made, or there's not very many people who have made them. I mean, selling keychains at by football games or online, Facebook Marketplace and stuff. Really, really good resources for doing stuff like that. And if you have a marketable skill, you can turn any image, like any JPEG, into an SVG for free. And then you can take that SVG and put it into Tinkercad, and you can make a 3D print of that SVG in seconds. I mean, it's really, really easy. And there are all kinds of tutorials on how to do that online. So I would not recommend, to make money, having people pay you to 3D print models that they choose. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm just saying that I wouldn't recommend that personally, because you end up with these issues of how much do you charge for a 3D print, and somebody just finds some random file and they say, hey, can you 3D print this thing? A lot of times it requires a ton of support material. It's difficult to 3D print it, and then you end up getting in way over your head, and it becomes a much bigger nightmare than you ever expected. And in my personal opinion, making things and making money off of that should be something fun. It should be something fun. And so if you're not enjoying it, you're probably not doing it right. What's your take on that, Aaron?
Well, I completely agree with that.
Did we freeze up again?
As a reference, I'm a lumberjack. That's what I'm just gonna say. I'm a lumberjack. That's where my costume is, Casey. I will show you what I put on earlier. Okay, I will show you.
Aaron, I need to refresh my page real quick. All right.
Autobots, transform and roll out! Except whenever I want to talk, I sound very, very evil.
And I can't see because I have to take my glasses off. So
my internet went down for a second. Sorry, I had to go and refresh the page. My apologies. Anyways. Anyways, so I didn't hear, what was your take on 3D printing files that people just give you for money?
Optimus Jack.
Yes, I am Optimus Jack, the best lumberjack of them all.
I know it. I am a big nerd. All right. So, as you know, I've been doing stuff for a hospital, making parts. This is a part that I had to work on for one. And this is another part that I've been working on, which has been the bane of my existence to do. Because the resin constantly likes to be brittle and break where I need it to not break. Even using flexible, it broke. So now I have got it set up so the thread, which is the part that I'm actually printing for the thread is right here. I'm not doing this part because this doesn't need to be there for the actual one. That part is actually getting resin printed and then inserted into it after the fact. And the main part, base part, is actually getting printed with regular FDM filament.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is there a possibility?
So yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So yeah, there is a possibility to do a cast with it, but the fact of doing that would take a little more time and also take something that I don't have right now, which is a foundry.
Well, you don't have to cast it. You could cast it like you could do some sort of injection mold type. Well, right, but you wouldn't have to make a metal mold.
I would have to have some sort of mold, and aluminum mold would be ideal to probably do it.
That's true.
But
that's true.
But yeah, you can sit there and make money off of it. I've made money obviously off of 3D printing and making things, but I've also obviously made money off of doing things like, you know, shirts as well. One second.
Yeah. Yeah, Eddie, I apologize. I know my internet is a little bit screwy out here in my room, but next week is going to be a lot better actually, because next week we're going to be an hour later for me. Everybody else is going to be the same time, but because the clocks are changing on Sunday morning, then it's going to be an hour later for me. So I'm going to be able to have my kids in bed and stuff already before we start the stream. So it's going to be a little bit nicer. So, you know, I apologize for the lag and stuff, guys. My internet, it doesn't quite reach back here. I've got one of those Wi-Fi range extenders in my room, but it just doesn't seem to work very well. So I apologize.
That happens. Oh, well, when I get done talking about making stuff and getting money, so Maker Fairs, well, being that they're digital right now, it's kind of hard to do it. You can actually make things and sell them at a Maker Fair. So you can do that as a vendor pretty much if you wanted to try to sell some stuff. And people can sell things off of Facebook Marketplace and all that, which does work to an extent. We actually talked about that, I think it was last year, beginning of this year, where this guy was selling a Mandalorian helmet that he printed on his like CR10 that was just horrible quality.
Right.
And so you can make stuff. Here's another thing that you can do, especially if you have a resin printer. Now this is Totoro from My Neighbor's Totoro that I did. I need to print a bigger one, but you can print minis for people's D&D.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool idea. If I had a resin printer, I might try something like that. But unfortunately, I'm still just too scared of them to be able to do that. So. Anyways.
Did you know we have someone from Valhalla here now?
I just saw. Hey, Thomas, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you guys. Well, again, I don't see you guys, but it's good to have you guys. I feel your presence. I feel the energy. All right. Well, I would now like to move on to the next topic, unless you got something else you want to talk about for making money as a maker.
Oh, give me a second. So yeah, you can do that, and with the 3D printing, you can make a bunch of different things. You can do a mixture of 3D printing and other types of making. You can do 3D printing and woodworking together. I've actually made signs for people that. Well, I didn't have a Cricut. I didn't have a vinyl cutter back then to do anything, but I made a sign that was all wood. Then I 3D printed the letter. So it was one of my friends that I worked with. It was their first child. So what I did is I printed the first, middle, and last name in letters, and I attached it to it with screws, so it was a 3-dimensional sign.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Eddie, I agree with you, man. If you don't have a way of keeping it away from the kids, then it's just not worth it. I mean, if I had, like, I have a little tiny workshop, but it's not weather sealed, and I wouldn't trust putting my printers and stuff in there. And so, if I had a place that I could keep printers and stuff away from the kids, then it maybe would be worth it. But I just don't have anywhere, so it's just not a possibility. But that's why last week we kind of talked about, there was a resin printer that 3D printing professor had talked about that was self-filling. It had a wash station built right into it, so the resin never leaves the printer. And so that's kind of a really cool idea. But still, I'd be worried that it would I'd still be worried that it would end up in a place where it should not be. So
no, I can completely agree with that and understand it. I mean, I don't pull my resin out of the vat. I actually leave it in there. Well, this was coming from TK. TK says he leaves it in. Wellbot says he leaves that in there. I mean, as long as it's not getting hit by UV light, it's not going to cure. And as you can see, I've got that down, so the UV light can't actually get in there. What little bit would come in and cure it. So, but
yeah, it definitely makes it safer if you don't have to mess with if you don't have to mess with the resin very often. It definitely makes it a little safer.
Yeah.
So maybe one day when I have millions of dollars and I can have my own 3D printing studio that's completely separate and locked away from my children and whatever, then one day. But I'm kind of torn with that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I like my kids being able to come over and watch the 3D printer work and see how it's printing. And, it's a lot like, I mean, if you guys are not super huge fans of the show, maybe you don't know this, but I'm kind of a gun enthusiast. And so I do keep and own firearms, but I make sure that I keep my kids away from them. I train them. I teach them about it. I have taken my boys shooting multiple times. Not that they shoot the guns, but I teach them gun safety. They know where the safety line is. They know where to stand. They know how to wear earmuffs, stuff like that. And so I think that I would be able to do the similar thing. But I think in the instance of a 3D printer, my biggest issue is I don't think that I would follow the safety precautions myself. I think that I'd be caught not wearing gloves and stuff like that,
No, I completely agree. I actually have done where I only have one glove on, but that one glove is the one actually messing with the actual build surface here. So I undo this, and then I've got this to move around, but I've got the flex plate from Wham Bam on there. And so my one gloved hand is actually the the one that gets to touch the resin. And so that way I can try to keep myself with my spray bottle to help clean things. And then I also have my scraper to try to help as well.
Yeah, Eddie, that's exactly my thought. I feel like there's a lot less chance of there being an unfortunate accident if my kids grow up understanding and respecting, instead of being curious and wondering what it's all about. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, she has her own 22 since she was 5. I've been thinking about getting Elliot his own gun, a little 22. But even though I've taken him out to the range, he's never actually fired a gun before, and so I'm thinking I'm going to start out with a BB gun. I got a BB gun. I've got a pellet gun. I'll take him out, show him how to use the BB gun. I've been teaching him gun range safety with a Nerf gun right now. So we have these little Nerf gun targets set up, and so we kind of like practice as if we were at a real firing range with Nerf guns. And then I need to take him out to shoot the BB gun and eventually work his way up. I'm a little bit more of a helicopter parent than I like to admit, honestly. I'm very concerned about everything, even though I know my kids are actually really good. So, but
yeah.
Anyways, so the next topic that I want to talk about is how you can possibly Halloween safely. All right. So I have 3 tips that I want to bring up. All 3 of them are a little bit silly, but valid. So just hear me out. All right. The first tip that I have is if you take your kids around trick-or-treating, then I would recommend bringing a very special and important tool with you when you go, and that is a golf ball. So the reason why I say you should bring a golf ball is because it's got a rounded surface. So the actual contact area that this golf ball has with, hey, that's not a bad idea, Eddie. They're renting a giant bounce house for the afternoon instead of going out trick-or-treating. That's not a bad idea. And I am totally in support of anybody who decides they want to stay in instead of going trick-or-treating. I have some really close friends. I have a lot of family that live in the neighborhood, and so I'm going to take my kids around to see those people. We're not really going to go door to door trick-or-treating, but I am going to hand out candy because, I feel like I should. So I say bring a golf ball with you because it's rounded surface. It's not going to have a lot of contact area with anything. You can use it to knock on doors and it doesn't make your fingers sore. You can use it to push buttons. You can use the golf ball for all kinds of things. And so that's my number one, my first recommendation. Bring a golf ball with you. They're super cheap. You can find them everywhere, and it's a tool that can help to keep you safe if you are really concerned about it. Number two. This is going to sound like a silly thing, all right? But this right here is really cool. Have you seen these, Aaron? Do you know what this is?
I feel like I should know what it is, but I'm not sure.
This is called a phone. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is called a phone spa. So this actually has UV lights that it emits. And so something that you can do, which is, I know it's ridiculous. It's a little bit silly. First of all, don't ever eat candy that doesn't have a wrapper on it. Okay. And that's a rule for every Halloween, not just this Halloween. Don't ever eat candy that doesn't have a wrapper on it, because that's craziness. But this right here is a UV light emitter. And so what it does is it emits a UV light, and it's usually meant for like phones and laptops and keyboards and whatever, but it takes about 20 seconds and it sanitizes and kills germs and bacteria. This is not meant to sanitize candy, but it could sanitize your wrappers on the candy. So if it's a concern, I'm just saying.
Just don't hold it up to Eminem or 50 Cent. They won't like that.
Well, it's not meant. I mean, you do have to. You're not supposed to let your kids use it or whatever, and that's totally fine. But there's nothing wrong with you using it if you're concerned about, the almond joy or whatever. All right. So I'm just saying, it's an idea. Wellbot's talking about remote delivery systems. So like slides down a set of stairs or a pulley system, drones. I saw one that was attached to a fishing pole and it had a zip line. So the basket would zip line down to the mailbox where the people would get the candy out, and then they would reel it back in with a fishing pole. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Eddie, it depends on your definition of sanitizing, but I'm going to say no.
Eddie, no, it won't sanitize your mind. I know your mind. I know how it works. We've had your hour or so of conversation in Arkansas on how your mind works last year.
Your mind
it won't sanitize your mind.
Also, just saying,
no, he's got a special coating that protects his mind. He's got a unique mind. Eddie's got a unique mind. He thinks a lot like me and a lot like you, but his perspective on things are different. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way. He's got a good perspective on things and how he goes about fixing things and solving a problem. So,
right.
Your mind's perfect the way it is, Eddie.
Honestly, I only associate with weird people. Like that's just
that's why we're friends. That's why we're friends, apparently.
As a general rule, if you are normal, I probably will not like you. That's just kind of a thing,
I'm not normal. People should know that by now.
Okay, now the last tip that I have for trick-or-treating safely. This is the reason why I teach robotics right here. Okay, so 2 years ago, around Halloween time, we were watching BattleBots together, my son and I, and he said, "Dad, I want you to make me a fighting robot." And I said, "I don't know how to do that." And so, see you later, Thomas. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you.
Go get some sleep, Thomas.
And he said, "I want a fighting robot." And I tried to figure something out. I was watching all kinds of YouTube videos, but I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. And so I was trying, but I tried 3D printing some stuff, but my design skills are not very good. In fact, I'd like to apologize because last week I was saying a few self-deprecating remarks about myself, putting down my own skill as a designer. And I know that I'm not a great designer, but I'm trying my hardest and I'm doing my best. I'm learning, I'm getting better. And so I apologize for the negativity that I spread on last week's stream. I apologize. So Eddie was trying to lift me up and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Wellbot was saying some things too. So and Aaron, I appreciate you guys. And I'm sorry that I was so negative last week on the stream. But my 3D printing, my design skills, they're not super great, and I know that, but that's okay. I'm learning. But however, I did have this idea. I took a remote control car, I cut the top off, and I zip tied a pumpkin to the top of it. And then I 3D printed a spinning blade of death, and I attached it to a little tiny motor inside, and I created the trick-or-treat bot. And here it is, people. This is the actual robot here. This right here is the reason why I have my job as a robotics teacher, because I was driving this bad boy around, and it's just an RC car that's got a pumpkin strap at the top. I was driving this bad boy around, and when I was driving it around, my principal saw me, and she said, "Hey, that's really cool. That's like a robot." And I was like, "Kind of. It's just an RC car." And she said, "Hey, you're going to teach robotics now, okay?" And I was like, she goes, "We got 40 robot kits, and I want you to just go and teach robotics to these kids." And I was like, "I don't know how to use the robot." So she said, "That's all right. You can learn." And that's why I teach robotics now, and I love it. I love my job. So here's the little spinning blade of death right here. It's very awesome. It's got a little, it used to have a motor attached. Now it doesn't any longer, but it's pretty cool. Anyways, the reason why I bring this up as tip number 3 is because you can create a trick-or-treat bot of your own, either as a way of delivering the candy to people or as a way of you picking up the candy from people for your kids. So they can drive, imagine driving a little pumpkin robot up to someone's house to receive the candy for trick-or-treating. Your kids would think that was the most amazing thing in the whole world. And really what it's about is trying to make Halloween fun, even social distancing and being safe as we can possibly be. I do feel like it's important. You could easily use that, speaking of candy, exactly, Wobot. I really think it's important to help to make Halloween a fun time for your kids, because we need to stop with the negative attitudes of we've been cooped up for 6 months and the kids need this or whatever. Just forget all that. Just find a way to have your kids have fun and do it safely. That's what I think you should do. Even if it's just getting up and going for a walk on Halloween, even if you don't actually go trick-or-treating, but going for a walk, going for a drive to go look at people who have decorated their house or whatever. Anything that you can do, because, you know, being outside in the fresh air, it's good for you. You know, I'm not recommending going to a bunch of parties and stuff and being close to other people, but I definitely recommend getting out, going out for a walk. Fresh air is a really good thing. It's powerful and it brings a lot of positive energy to your kids and to your houses. And it's just good all around. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
I agree.
You concur, Doctor?
Concur. 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 So, yeah, I concur.
So that's my thoughts. And you guys might disagree with me, and that's okay. But if you guys have any thoughts of how you can Halloween safely, how can you make Halloween fun for your kids? Eddie was just saying that they're going to rent a bouncy castle or something for their kids for that day. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think it's fun. Get yourself a bag of candy, you know. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, taking my little man to grandparents tomorrow. That's pretty much what's happening.
That's cool.
So
yeah, we're doing something similar. We're gonna go to see grandparents and great grandparents. We're gonna go. I've got a couple of really close friends that I'm gonna go see. But other than that, really, it's just gonna be.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be. We're gonna try and go.
His living great grandparent is way up north, so I ain't doing that. And that's on his mom's side. My grandpas are all passed. So
sorry.
It happens. So my grandma passed this year. So my dad's mom.
Right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right.
But
the second part was not being able to go to the funeral.
Yeah, it's been hard. Did you guys do some sort of a virtual thing, or did you just end up not being able to
go? Since I couldn't go, I started a virtual stream for it because I had my dad do the phone and use data and use StreamYard to do that. But now StreamYard has it set up so you can start a stream from your actual phone and host it from your phone. You don't have to be hosting from a computer. So.
Right. That's cool. I didn't know that they had that feature.
That feature is new. a month or two now, maybe. So,
Well, like I said, if you guys have any other ideas on how you can Halloween safely, or just some fun ways to help your kids have fun during the holiday season, then please hit us up on Twitter or whatever. Make sure that you use the hashtag #A_C show. That's the hashtag that I use for everything that's related to the show. And then you use that hashtag. And then it makes it easy for us to look it up and check on stuff. Brian,
Brian,
what is up, Brain? My Brian.
you weren't on here last week, Brian. How dare you?
Brian, I've been anxiously awaiting your arrival, my friend. So glad to have you here, man. I mean, Brian just got here. I feel like I need to add more stuff to the show, but I was just about to end it because I didn't have anything else to talk about. I don't know what else to do now.
Start a little late, end early. That's how we roll around here. No,
I think Brian.
I think I would have had a lot of sleep with the way I'm acting.
How's the weather been? How's the weather been in Missouri? In Missouri.
It's been cold, very, very cold. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's pretty miserable.
It's been rainy. It's been rainy. And didn't it rain yesterday? Did it rain yesterday? It didn't rain today. It's not raining tomorrow. So it's supposed to be all nice and, non-rain all this weekend and next week, which is nice because it's just been doom and gloom of rain, which, don't get me wrong, I love the rain. It's nice. But when it's cold like it was, I wish it would have snowed.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It actually snowed. It actually snowed here.
I hate you, Chris.
It snowed. Well, I mean, it kind of snowed.
I hate you with a passion. I hate you with a passion right now.
It snowed for like 5 seconds, but it didn't stick. But we got a whole bunch of snow up on the mountain. I live right next to a mountain.
Yeah,
and so it snowed a bunch.
I got rain.
Well, I mean, it rained.
This is what I got.
It tried to snow, and then it rained here. Who sent that to you?
That's out in Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania, Washington State. Jealous of the snow. Because I like the rain. Rain's good. I like the cold. I like the warmth in the summer. But if it's going to be cold, it might as well snow. I
agree.
I did, yeah. So you got snow.
Send it back.
A bunch of places got snow. Kansas got a bunch of ice. I just got rain that eventually froze at one point in time because it was just so cold. But it wasn't like ice. It just froze on the tree overnight, and so the tree branches were hanging down low because of it. But that's it. And then it all melted off. Oh, also the fun fact of nope, just rain. That's it. Fun fact about working in a broadcast television, we have a tower at the station because that's how we broadcast it to the bigger towers that are several hundreds of feet tall. I mean, way, way up there. And if you want to make a stupid amount of money, go work for the people that send the people up on those towers.
Man, for reals.
They make stupid amounts of money, and just thinking about it scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, I don't think you could pay me enough to do that. I'm not a super big fan of heights. I mean, we're like acquaintances, you know.
Now, see, we one of the towers around here, it was a PBS tower, I think, or something. I forget which tower it was. Collapsed. Was it last year? Year before that? So yeah, there was a tower that actually collapsed recently. Someone died from it too.
Really?
Yeah. They were going up.
Man.
Yeah, it's horrible. But I digress.
You know, when you think about like I don't know, when you think about like 30 years ago, like how many people had cell phones 30 years ago? I mean, they did exist.
Well, I didn't. 30 years ago, I was 3 years old. So,
well, like 30 years ago,
they did have cell phones. They did have cell phones 30 years ago. They were just a brick. They were a brick.
I know they had cell phones 30 years ago. They just were super uncommon. What I'm saying is, if 30 years ago, all cell phone service just stopped out of nowhere, like 5 people would have had a bad day. Today,
more than that, but everybody.
Well, but I mean, their day would have been like mildly inconvenienced, you know. But like, if today, right this very second, all of a sudden cell phones stopped working, I mean, I'm willing to bet that millions of people would die.
Well, actually die if they stopped working? No, they would. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
I think people would riot. Honestly, I think that there would be like wars started. Like people would riot and it would go.
There probably would be. There probably would be that stuff going on too. Yeah,
it'd be worldwide. I think millions of people would die if cell phones suddenly stopped working. That's what I think.
Well, and here's the problem. A lot of people nowadays don't have a landline.
I don't have a landline.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people nowadays do not have a landline.
You have a landline?
Well, that's the thing. Did I say I have a landline? No, I don't.
I was asking.
I could have a landline. I don't have a landline though. But no, that's what I'm saying. I don't have a landline. I don't mind having a landline. I just don't have it. My parents have a landline.
My parents had a landline. My parents had a landline for like 12 years here at their house. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, they I walked into their house and their phone was ringing and they'd never answered it. And I realized that for 10 years, they'd had this thing for 12 years. For 10 years, the phone rang and they never ever answered it. Not a single time. And I'm like, do you guys even check the voicemails? They're like, no, we don't even check voicemail. So I'm like, why are you guys even paying for this landline? And they're like, it's just a phone number that we can give to scammers so that they have something to call. And so I just went in and I just unplugged their phone because I was tired of their phone ringing all the time. They don't ever answer it. So they canceled it.
It doesn't need to be plugged in if that's the way you're doing it. Just unplug it.
Exactly. You don't ever plan on answering it. So why? I used to try and get a hold of them.
It's gonna ring. That drives me nuts.
I used to call their landline,
Oh, now
and
you
then
know why.
when the answering machine would pick up, I would start shouting into the answering machine, hoping that somebody would come and answer the phone because I needed to talk to someone. And they just never ever answered it. So it was like, what is the point of this stupid box here? So I just unplugged it. Brian's got an ocean liner. He said he's going to invite us over to go on his cruise ship.
All right, packing my Speedo.
Never mind, I ain't coming. My friend's going to be in Speedo.
My banana hammock.
Oh boy.
Call me Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
Oh boy.
Come on, name the show. Come on, name the show. Come on, Chris. You got to know the show. You're old enough.
Oh man, I forgot. I am old enough. I remember her, but I don't remember what the show was.
Friends. It was Phoebe Buffay. Her and Paul Rudd. When Paul Rudd and her were together in it, and she was looking about changing her name, so she changed it to Princess Consuela Banana Hammock because she didn't realize what a banana hammock was. So then he goes and he's talking. He's like, "Well, I changed my name," and told her what it was. And then he says, "Well, aren't you going to tell him my name?" And he changed his name to Crapbag. This is my husband, Crapbag.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
So then he goes, "Do you know what a banana hammock is?" She goes, "It's a funny word. It's a Speedo."
That's funny. Tanner, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining.
So
he joined at the wrong time. He joins, and then there's Aaron. Banana hammock.
Banana hammock. Speedos.
Oh geez, well, but what were you watching? McLeod's Daughters? I mean, I'd make fun of a different Australian show, but that's the only one that I know. So
I don't know any Australian shows.
McLeod's Daughters. It's about some girls that work on a ranch in Australia.
Yeah, see, but you said McLeod's Daughters. All I can think of is Highlander.
For reals, yes.
That's McLeod. I'm sorry, but you said McLeod. I think of swords and just whacking people's heads off with a sword. I'm sorry, that's Highlander. McLeod is always going to be Highlander for me.
My wife has all the DVDs of McLeod's Daughters, and every time she puts that show on, I just keep wondering when the Highlander's going to come. That's like I just love it.
There can be only one Highlander.
There can be only one.
Wait. It's not the same, but there can be only one Highlander.
with the lightsaber. Oh boy. well, who knows what I would have been watching, but it wouldn't have been that trash. Well, all right, Wellbot. If you're going to be picking on Friends, then I'm going to pick on you for McLeod's Daughters, which happens to be your favorite TV show. I know. Kathy told me.
Speaking of people down under, I still need to send this to you because I'm apparently lazy and can't get to the post office.
Well, so I went and talked to my father-in-law, and he misread my text message. He thought that I said that it was big and heavy, and he was like, "Nope, not going to happen." And when I went back and told him like how big it was and how much it weighed, he's like, "Oh, I could have brought that home." And I was like, "Whoa."
That's funny.
So we got to look up the original Underbelly series. That's what Garth is saying.
The what?
The original Underbelly series is some sort of Australian TV show that apparently was okay.
Okay. Underbelly.
We'll have to look it up. Well, guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we've been on for an hour. I gotta go make sure my kids are in bed because my son has a soccer game at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm thinking we're gonna have to head out for the day.
For the night.
Now that I think about it, I had a special Halloween treat for us tonight, but I forgot about it. It's too late now.
What was it?
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
I'll give you a hint. We also had this treat last year for Halloween.
You had it. I did not.
No, but I got a whole bunch of them that I'm going to send to you in a package.
We need to send that to Miss O'Malley.
We should send some to Kathy. That's right. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Kathy, if you're watching this, you know something you're gonna get.
I bet Wellbot would like it. He likes Vegemite and weird stuff like that.
So, oh yeah, we'll definitely. I'll definitely have to try them.
All right. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I can't speak for Aaron, but I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're watching us live,
he can if only I move my mouth and say nothing.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Sorry.
Wellbot,
I'm hyper tonight, apparently.
Wellbot, I need you to go into your Twitter messages and message me your address so I can send you a package. I want to send you a special treat that I know you're gonna love. So go hit me up on my DMs and and hit me up with your address so I can send you a little package. I'll send you a little care package for Halloween. And because you're in Australia, you'll probably get there by Christmas. So
it's very true.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Everything you guys do for us supporting the show. Next week we're going to be over on this sexy gentleman's channel. And I hope you guys have a great and safe Halloween. Don't forget to when you post things that you've made or whatever that you'd like to send to us, please tag it with #A_C show. And that is going to allow us to be able to see those tweets very, very quickly and easily. And things that you make could possibly be featured on our show next week. So appreciate it.
Yeah, so greatly appreciate you all for joining. And we will catch you next week on my show. So till then, everybody, happy making, take care, and we'll catch you on the flippity flip.
Oh, no, flip.